Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when darkness feels overwhelming, moments when the path ahead seems hidden, moments when uncertainty weighs on your chest like a heavy stone. But hear me today, darkness is not the end. Darkness is the very place where light learns how to rise. It is in the shadows that strength is forged, hope awakens, and courage is born. Every person listening to me right now carries a light within them, a light that circumstances cannot steal, a light that fear cannot extinguish, a light that hardship cannot silence. And today, I want to remind you of 5 timeless truths, 5 anchors that will guide you whenever life grows dim. Your light begins where your fear ends. There are moments in life when fear stands like a wall in front of you, tall and unmovable. It convinces you that stepping forward is dangerous, that staying where you are is safer, and that the unknown ahead is darker than anything behind you. But what fear never tells you is this: every great breakthrough, every significant transformation, every powerful change in a person's life starts right beyond that wall. Fear is loud, yes, but it is also a liar. The light within you may flicker when fear approaches, but it never disappears. It waits. It waits for the moment you choose courage over comfort, truth over doubt, and progress over paralysis. And when you do, that light ignites with a force stronger than anything that tries to stop you. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to walk despite it. Some of the bravest steps you will ever take will be taken with trembling legs and a pounding heart. But those are the moments when your inner light truly begins to shine. You see, fear creates darkness by exaggerating your weaknesses and hiding your strengths. It blinds you with what-ifs and traps you with worst-case scenarios. But when you take even a small step toward what you fear, the illusion fades. You begin to see that the darkness was never as thick as it felt, and the challenge was never as impossible as it looked. The light expands, the path becomes clearer, and you discover strength you didn't know you had. Every time you confront something that intimidates you, whether it's a difficult decision, a painful truth, or a long, delayed dream, you widen the capacity of your own light. You grow in ways you cannot grow by avoiding what scares you. You evolve in ways you cannot evolve by running from what calls you. Life rewards the brave, not because they are fearless, but because they refuse to let fear decide their future. The moment you move past fear's boundary, even by an inch, you enter a new realm of possibility. Suddenly, you are not the same person you were a moment ago. You rise taller, you stand firmer, you shine brighter. Fear is powerful only when you stand still. The longer you pause, the darker everything becomes. But movement, any movement, is enough to break fear's illusion. A small decision, a single phone call, a simple choice to try again, these acts may seem insignificant, but they carry enormous power. They are proof that fear does not own you. They are proof that your light is still alive, and each step forward, no matter how hesitant, is a declaration that your future is worth fighting for. Fear cannot remain where courage begins to grow. When you reach the edge of what scares you and choose to step through it, something extraordinary happens. You meet a version of yourself that fear tried to hide, a stronger version, a wiser version. A version filled with potential that only emerges when you dare to confront what feels impossible. That is where your light begins, not in perfect conditions, not in easy seasons, but in the very place where fear tells you to stop. Beyond that edge, your true strength awakens and your purpose becomes clearer. Because the moment fear ends, your light begins, and once it begins, darkness loses its power over you. Darkness doesn't define you. Your response to life has a way of presenting challenges that feel heavier than what you believe you can carry. There are days when circumstances shake your confidence, when obstacles rise without warning, and when the night around you feels endless. In those moments, it's easy to think the darkness itself is shaping who you are. But the truth is far more powerful. Darkness does not define you. Your response to it does. What you choose in the hardest seasons becomes the story of your strength. What you decide when everything feels uncertain becomes the foundation of the person you are becoming. You are not shaped by the struggle itself, but by the courage you bring into it. Every individual faces seasons where life seems unfair, where expectations collapse, and where dreams feel distant. But even then, you are not powerless. You still hold authority over your reactions, your choices, and your attitude. You may not control the storm, but you control the way you stand in the rain. Strength is not proven in calm waters, but in the waves that try to pull you under. When you choose hope over despair, discipline over comfort, and persistence over surrender, you turn the darkest moments into defining chapters of growth. The challenge may be great, but your response can be greater. Darkness tests people in different ways. For some, it exposes fear. For others, it triggers doubt, but it also reveals something else: your resilience. You might bend, but you do not break. You might struggle, but you do not quit. Every difficult season gives you the opportunity to discover hidden reserves within yourself. You learn that you can recover from disappointment. You learn that you can rebuild after loss. You learn that you can walk through uncertainty without losing your worth. And every time you rise again, you show the world and yourself what you're truly made of. Darkness does not define you. It simply reveals the strength that was always inside you. When you face hardship, you have two choices: react in fear or respond in strength. A reaction is impulsive, emotional, and often driven by panic. But a response is intentional, it's calm, courageous, and grounded in purpose. Responses are built from reflection, patience, and clarity. They come from knowing who you are even when circumstances try to confuse you. When you respond with character instead of reacting with chaos, you reclaim your power. You send a clear message that adversity may challenge you, but it does not control your identity. And ultimately, the way you walk through darkness becomes your testimony of resilience. Not the pain you endured, not the difficulty you faced, but the dignity with which you navigated the storm. People will remember your perseverance. Your perseverance will inspire your future, and your future will shine brighter because of the way you carried yourself in the shadows. The darkness around you cannot define you unless you allow it. What truly defines you is your decision to rise, to stand firm, and to continue moving forward. And when you choose that, when you decide who you are even in the dark, you become unstoppable. Even the smallest light changes everything. There are moments in life when progress feels slow, when steps you take seem too small to matter, and when the distance to your goal looks impossibly far. But this is where people often misunderstand the power of small beginnings. A tiny spark may not illuminate an entire field, but it is enough to break the darkness. One small act of courage, one small decision to keep going, one small step taken in faith, these things might not seem significant at first, yet they carry the power to shift the entire direction of your life. Darkness thrives on the belief that nothing you do is enough. But even the smallest light exposes that lie and proves that forward movement is always possible. We often wait for the perfect moment, the perfect clarity, or the perfect strength before taking action. But perfection is not what changes your life. Consistency is. A dim light still guides your feet. A small effort still moves you forward. A single decision still alters your path. When you embrace the power of small steps, you stop waiting for conditions to be ideal and start creating momentum. Every great journey ever accomplished began with one step, often taken by someone who felt unprepared. The size of the step is irrelevant. What matters is that you took it. What matters is that you refuse to stay frozen in the darkness. The beauty of small light is that it grows. One positive thought can shift your entire mood. One moment of gratitude can reset your perspective. One act of kindness can soften a hardened heart, maybe even your own. A single commitment to show up, to try again, to push forward can set off a chain reaction. Like a spark meeting dry wood, your small efforts begin to catch fire. They build discipline, they shape character. They turn scattered attempts into steady progress. Soon, what once felt impossible becomes manageable. What once felt overwhelming becomes attainable. And what once felt too small suddenly stands as the foundation for something extraordinary. Light doesn't remove darkness all at once. It pushes it back gradually, moment by moment. In the same way, transformation doesn't happen overnight. Growth rarely announces itself loudly. It whispers through tiny victories, days when you show up even when you don't want to, choices you make quietly, habits you build patiently. These moments accumulate. They strengthen your resolve. They sharpen your focus. Before you realize it, the small light you carried becomes a lantern guiding your way. And that lantern becomes a torch. And that torch becomes a flame that inspires others. The world often measures success by size and visibility. But real change begins in places too small for others to notice. Your journey is not defined by giant leaps, but by the everyday decisions you make when no one is watching. Even the smallest light has the power to change the atmosphere around you. It carries hope. It carries direction. It carries possibility. And as long as you keep that light alive, even if it flickers or dims, you will never be lost, because darkness cannot stop a person who is willing to move forward, even one small step at a time. Hope is stronger than any shadow. There are times when life presses so hard against your spirit that hope feels like a distant whisper, soft, fragile, almost unreachable. In those seasons, shadows seem to stretch longer than usual, and the weight of uncertainty feels heavier than truth. But it is exactly in these moments that hope reveals its greatest strength. Hope is not a decoration for good days. It is a lifeline for the difficult ones. It is the quiet voice inside you saying, "Keep going," even when everything around you tells you to give up. Shadows may surround you, but they cannot overpower a heart that refuses to stop believing in a better tomorrow. Hope is more than emotion. It is a deliberate choice. It is something you decide to hold on to when circumstances give you every reason to let go. It is not born from perfect conditions, nor does it depend on positive outcomes. Hope grows in the soil of adversity, watered by resilience and strengthened by persistence. When you choose hope, you are choosing to trust that the story isn't finished yet, that the struggle has purpose, and that the darkness you see today will not be the same darkness that meets you tomorrow. Hope allows you to stand in the night without losing sight of the dawn. Shadows exist only because something brighter is shining somewhere nearby. When you understand this, the darkness loses its power. Instead of seeing it as a sign of defeat, you begin to recognize it as evidence that light is present, even if you can't see it fully. Hope teaches you to look past what's visible and trust what's possible. It encourages you to believe that the light is still working behind the scenes, shaping outcomes, building opportunities, and aligning moments you cannot yet understand. Hope is the quiet conviction that what appears to be the end is often just the beginning of a new chapter. There will be days when hope feels like the only thing you have left, and on those days it will be enough. It will steady your heart when your strength fades. It will keep your mind clear when fear tries to cloud your vision. It will carry you through the nights when you feel alone and through the storms when you feel overwhelmed. Hope does not remove the struggle, but it gives you the courage to endure it. It reminds you that every season has an expiration date, that even the deepest pain eventually softens, and that endurance always leads to breakthrough. When you hold on to hope, you become unshakable, not because the journey becomes easier, but because your spirit becomes stronger. Every challenge that once threatened to break you becomes a reminder of what you've overcome. Every shadow that once intimidated you becomes proof that light is near, and every step you take, even the trembling ones, becomes a testament to the power of choosing hope over despair. The shadows around you may be real, but they are no match for a heart that believes in possibility, renewal, and a brighter ending. Hope is stronger than any shadow, and when you cling to it, nothing can stop you from rising. You carry the light others are searching for. There are times when you underestimate the impact of your own life. You assume your struggles are yours alone, your victories unseen, your courage unnoticed. But what you may not realize is that someone, somewhere, is watching you and drawing strength from the way you keep going. You carry a light within you that is far more significant than you think. Even on days when you feel weak, tired, or uncertain, your perseverance becomes a beacon for others who are quietly fighting battles of their own. Your light doesn't need to be loud or perfect, it only needs to be present. Sometimes the simple act of standing back up becomes the very thing that inspires someone else to rise. Your journey, with all its twists and challenges, is not just shaping you, it is guiding others. There are people who have seen your resilience and found hope for themselves because of it. There are people who have felt lost, yet regained direction because your strength reminded them that survival is possible. Without even trying, your life becomes a message that whispers, if they can make it, maybe I can too. You become a living example of courage in motion. And even when your own path feels dim, others may be using your footsteps as their map through their own darkness. You do not need extraordinary achievements to be a source of light. Sometimes the most powerful influence comes from small, everyday choices. How you speak with kindness when others expect anger, how you stay patient when life tests you, how you choose truth over convenience, and how you keep moving forward even when no applause is given. These moments, though quiet, send ripples into the world around you. People are not looking for perfection, they are looking for authenticity, for consistency, for someone who shows that progress is possible even when life is difficult. Your ordinary acts of courage become extraordinary guidance for someone else. There will be times when you feel like you're walking through darkness alone, but you are not. Every ray of light you carry strengthens someone's hope and reinforces someone's belief that they too can overcome. When you lift someone's spirit with a few words, when you encourage someone who is fading, when you choose compassion over judgment, you become part of their healing. And here is the beautiful truth. The light you offer to others often becomes the same light that leads you forward. Helping someone else rise often gives you clarity, purpose, and strength for your own journey. Ultimately, your light is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to shine boldly, gently, consistently. You may not always see the impact you're making, but it is there. You are touching lives you don't even realize, giving courage to people you may never meet, and adding brightness to a world that desperately needs it. Your life, your endurance, your compassion, your integrity, they all matter more than you know. You carry the light others are searching for, and when you choose to keep shining, you illuminate the path not only for them, but for yourself as well.